Good afternoon and welcome to Salford Lads Clubs. It's 10th show, so now we've managed to drag ourselves across the finishing line without being took off air. After this show we'll be having a 2-week break. Basically we're knackered, we're running out of guests, running out of patience, running out of money, running out of time. Any excuse will do us really. But before we start chatting to the guests, there's a few little intros I'd like to mention, people to thank. Lynn Cullen and Griffiths, we watches the show avidly. We wish her all the best. She's not been so well, but well done, Lynn. Thanks for watching, seriously. Stevie Wonder, the three-legged cat in Warrington's watching again, which is true, it's strange but true. Last week we covered a few events. We covered the Agecroft Miners. They have a roll of honour, shall we say. Carol covered that one. And I covered the event at Eccles Town Hall, community events, where stalls from local communities met up. You could find out what benefits they'd show you, etc. Which leads me on nicely to my first guest who I met at the event. Hello, young man.
Hiya.
This is voice man, Michael Richard, and you're from?
Talk about it, mate.
I'm going to. Tell us all, because I've got to be honest,
Yeah.
I was asked to speak to you by Councillor Nathaniel Tete,
Yes.
he's a great man.
Yeah, good guy.
And he said you must talk to Michael.
Yeah.
So tell us all about what you do, because I'm very much in the dark.
Yeah, so Talk About It, mate is a social enterprise. So it's got charitable aims, but essentially we exist because we want to support men with their mental health in Salford. And it's been going about 8 years, but in Salford we've really grown over about 4 years, running peer support groups. So it's not so much like formal group therapy, but it is spaces for men that are facilitated by people who've got some kind of skills and background in that, and that's usually myself. So it's grown and grown. And
Are they referred to, you know?
Yeah, a lot of the guys are referred to us through what's called community connectors or social prescribers who do amazing work on the ground in Salford, and we're the beneficiaries of that, and we provide those spaces for the men to grow their mental health and beyond, really. So yeah.
How long have you been running it?
So it's been going about 8.5 years, and yeah, it's at first it was a kind of hobby really I did when I wasn't living in Salford, but as soon as I kind of started to train as a counsellor, I really wanted to make it a real thing on the ground, and I left my teaching career in around COVID time, and then, you know, I don't know, a lot of people's lives changed in COVID, didn't they? And then but what we did is some outreach, and we were talking to hundreds of men in Salford, and they all wanted face-to-face meetings. So as soon as we could do that, we did, and we've never looked back.
The name, tell me about it, mate. How has that come about?
So,
talk about it, I should say.
Yeah, like
talk about, which we are doing.
People say men don't talk, but I think when you create the right conditions, they do. So it all goes back to that I had a mental breakdown 10 years ago, and I was teaching, I was in a bad place, I was suicidal, and I got some therapy and some support because I'd reached a crisis point, a rock bottom, but I benefited so much from that it actually made me want to kind of pursue it as a career. And I couldn't find the kind of space what I was looking for, because I got to a crisis point. So in my 20s, when I was struggling with anxiety and depression and other things, panic attacks, if I'd have had a group of friends who I could have talked to, or a group of peers, I think I would have benefited. So I couldn't find what I was looking for, so I begrudgingly created it myself, and then other people were saying, you're onto a good thing here, and here we are.
You're very honest and open about it, aren't you, Michael?
I think that that's what men want, though, because if you know, there's a lot of stigma around it, a lot of shame around it. And if the guy who runs the group is coming in and saying, I've been through stuff myself, I think that takes it away. And, you know, as a counsellor, it's slightly different, but in peer support, it's that honesty and openness. Yeah. So
where do you meet and what activities do you provide?
So as a core offer now, we meet 3 times a week in Salford. So Mondays, just at Langworthy Cornerstones, we're not far. Tuesdays at Warton Gateway, and Fridays at Eccles Gateway, and all them groups are daytime groups because that's where the need is for these men, and it's 1 till 3 p.m. All groups are free to attend. You'll get a cup of tea. I can't tell you it's going to be a good cup of tea, but you'll get a cup of tea and biscuits and a warm welcome.
Important, the biscuit.
But it has to be right.
So what activities do you pursue then?
So outside of in the men's groups, we kind of follow a topic or a theme, and everyone gets a chance to check in. But it's not as downbeat as you would expect. Actually, there's a lot of laughter, a lot of humour, a lot of community building, which is what you can do as well, isn't it? It's people helping people in the community. But outside of that, we do walks and walking groups. Some of the guys come to the lads club here, play pool. We've recently written and performed a play.
I was going to ask you about this play.
Yeah.
In fact, I want to know more.
Well, we got some funding in earlier on in the year for kind of winter, activities, to get men inside, and we wanted to base it around history, and we'll come on to history in a minute. But what snowballed from there is that they did some research, and then someone had the bright idea of let's do a show. Fast forward like this 8-9 week project, and then last week in Wharton they put a show on. So I invited 20 people, and 50 showed up. So now there's a real zest for this. Do we take it? Well, the lads club would be the perfect place to do it, wouldn't it?
It would be,
yeah.
What was the show? What was it about?
So we called it Dirty Old Town. So say half the group of Salford natives and half the group have come to Salford. Yeah. So it was a kind of exchange, but then that became the motto, because obviously the Salford City come out to it, don't they? And then people were going into the history of it, and we've learned a lot about Salford. But the point is, it was not just about it's Salford, it's men and it's mental health, and it's not so much the finished product, it's the guys themselves working together and doing something. Like one person saying I'm going to go on stage, that's scary, isn't it? But we do it with 12 of your mates who you've been having a laugh with for 9 weeks.
Confidence booster.
Exactly.
And are they bold enough to go on stage and sing and dance?
I don't think the singing's there yet, but if Dale, the director, had his way, we would get there. He wants us to be at the Lowry, but I said, let's do a step up from there. But I think the point is that the men and women of Salford on the streets, who are normal, everyday people, are capable of achieving great things when they work together, and there's a lot of backing there. So, they had their scripts there, and some of them had memorised the lines, but I think their personalities came through. Like obviously we wouldn't say it on this podcast, but there was a lot of bad language, but it was also all done in jest and kind of to show what they're really like. And it was a man who's come to Salford in 1926, and then it comes to present day. So this 100 years thing has been brilliant for community groups, because I think there's a lot of eyes on Salford, and I've met so many people in the last few months that I've not met before, and I like coming here today and talking to you guys.
Well, they're welcome. I'm very, not curious, that's the wrong word. I'm happy what you're doing. It just, as you say, quite rightly say, there's that taboo about men's mental health, isn't it? They're frightened to open up about it to people, but providing that service.
Yeah, and like any service, it's not for everyone, but we do try to adapt it as much as possible. But anything you need to do, there is going to require you to step outside your comfort zone. Like that first therapy session I went to, the first group I went to when I lived in London, the first time I set up a group in Salford, I was so far out of my comfort zone, I was bricking it, It was like, but that's the price of growth. And sometimes you walk in that door the first time and you look nervous. In our groups, they will rally around you. They'll give you a brew, they'll give you a hug if and it's that men are capable of doing that. It's just maybe not the norm, but you can create that space. I'm
going to mention history. I saw a video, a clip roll, shall we say, with you saying you're doing a history walk on Chapel Street.
I'm as surprised as you, right? So this all came about because I've got some links with the wonderful guys who run Salford Pride, and they do the picnic every year. So I did some work with them, some mental health work a few years back, and then I sent a message, would you be interested in having a chat? And then I said, so it's not like the kind of history you would provide, it's kind of, they scan a QR code and they get some information, but it's just someone to take them to each stop and give them a little bit of a summary. And I said, I'll do it if in exchange for a donation to the charity.
That's good.
So I think the thought behind it is to support a community group. But I think it's aimed at a very young demographic, and I'm thinking, I don't want to call Gen Z or whatever, but I'm like, am I going to know everything that they know? But I did the walk myself on Saturday, and just took my wife and took the dog with us, and I actually learned, and what I like about it is that they've obviously reached out to some history societies, and like one of the university history societies wrote one, and I think it's interesting. And if
Is it anything of mine?
There has been talk that one of the things that came from someone on our project come in one day and went, I've learned all this history. You need to speak to this fella called Tony Flynn. So I'm glad that we've
come. Take it.
Yeah, but I'd love you to come if we do that show on a big stage. I'd love for you to come up and do it. Like Men of Salford, you're one of the Men of Salford, and yeah.
Escaping the battle a bit. When is the show?
Well, we're in negotiations to hopefully put another show on in June. But, these things require, as you know, funding. But I think the power of myself and my colleague Dale, who won't take no for an answer, he's having a mooch around the club right now, but is to bring in sponsorship or backing or whatever.
Money,
because these aren't your everyday actors. These are the people who are around us. And if they can do it, everyone can do it. And I think that the fact that it's helping with their mental health and their physical health is doubly good, isn't it?
Is he in the gym now, Dale, is he?
He's probably punching a punch bag, so he's like, Mike, we've got to be in here, this needs to be our home. And but bringing him in last year, and he's also a qualified counsellor, it's been great, because I've done this for 4 years and I've been flagging it's a lot to do. And emotionally, to bring a guy in who's got all the energy in the world, it's like a big brother to me, yeah. That's the brotherhood, isn't it?
Indeed.
Yeah.
You've got strong Salford connections as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so even though I was born in Stockport, my family from Salford, and my mum's born in Salford, and she's from a big family. So it's, as a kid, I'd be coming to Salford quite a lot. And then when we moved here about 8-9 years ago, almost like I was starting to learn about the city, that's in my blood. So I feel like now I'm finally being taken in as
an honorary Salford.
Yeah, I'll take that, because it was last year that we won Community Group of the Year at the Spirit of Salford Awards, and I think it's always nice to be nominated, but I'm not going to lie, I did not expect to win it. I'd had 2 bottles of wine by the time they'd announced that, and then I just burst out crying. It was embarrassing, but the point is, that's for the men that come to these groups. Some of the bravest men I've ever met. Can all these have celebrities will go on TV and they're breaking the stigma and raising awareness, but the men in Salford that I work with, they do the work, and it's not easy, as you know. It's talking about, we've had quite a few guys pass away, that's only united the community, and
it's stronger, wouldn't it?
Salford is the best place I've seen for community spirit that I've ever lived.
With that.
Yeah.
I agree with
that.
I'm biased, obviously, coming from Salford, but whenever we do charity events or fundraising, people of Salford always step up to the plate.
Yeah.
And certain some of the people donate money they can't afford themselves. Yeah. And so I'd doff my cap to you Salfordian people. Yeah. So if people, let's hypothetically this, Michael, if they're feeling some strains of modern life, etc., can they come and see you at Cornerstone? Or? Yeah,
our groups, we might receive referrals, but you can drop in. It's always good to get in touch beforehand, because what I'll do is I'll make the time, I'll give you a call. I think it starts from that very first phone call. Yeah, you're putting that fella at ease, and you're showing a bit of yourself, aren't you, to say, look mate, I'm not this person who wears a lanyard, I'm not this, you'll get a brew. And I think that, and we have a lot of older men as well.
I was going to say, what age groups are they?
Our youngest member's probably early 20s. Our oldest, we recently lost a guy who was 89, but his history, and he was taught, we put a bit in the show about when a plane went in the canal in the war, and he got a lot of laughs in the.
Did he remember that?
Yeah, well, he was telling us about, and he used to work on the buses. He was called Barry. He lived in Walkden. He had so many anecdotes, and we were going to put him in this show. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of months ago, so we dedicated the show to him. So but you get an 89-year-old and a 24-year-old, what they got in common? They're both men, because as you know, you bring people together around what unites them, you can't stop them. It's when there's a lot of people in the world trying to divide us, isn't there? But if you bring the community together and say, you care about your family, you're a man, I'm a man, we might see the things differently, but we're here together around this table. Like breaking bread, isn't it? Yeah. And I think it's the intergenerational. But I love working with older men. I think that they can come in a bit grumpy at first, but when the personality comes through, it's when you've won them over.
The ice, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like I've got loads of uncles and stuff. I feel like they're like my family.
Uncle Michael.
Yeah, well, I'm an only child, and from a big family. The guys in the groups are like my family, because they, it's the brotherhood. We call it the brotherhood. Yeah, yeah.
I think you're doing a fantastic job, really. Yeah. Is there anything you like to get across to the cameras about your job? Yeah,
I just want people to know that there's good stuff out there, and I work a lot in the community. I liaise with the council and NHS and people like that. But I know the times are tough, but when times are tough, that's when the community groups step up, and you only have to scratch the surface, and Tony will tell you that in Salford, of all of the Greater Manchester boroughs, we've got the biggest heartbeat of community groups in all of Greater Manchester. Like, it's clear, you know, and I think, like you say, people are donating when they haven't got much to give. Like, it doesn't mean it has to be money. It could be support, it could be sharing a post, it could be telling a relative, it could be making a contact with a business who want to get behind that kind of work, because, you know, this is the heart of Salford, and you know, if we can't help, we'll pass you on to someone who does know, and I think that's where no one slips through the net, you know.
So how are you funded?
So probably the most generous funders are the National Lottery, so big thank you to them. Then we get funding that might come through Salford CVS and NHS and things like that. Sometimes we did do donations. We did a crowdfunder last year and Salford Council matched it. Right. So like, you know, and it was the mayor who told us about that to apply, actually, because we got the mayor to come to the men's group. And to be fair, he came in his own gear and, you know, like, he got stuck in. And, you know, like, it's not about politics, it's about just real people. And the guys in the group, half the guys were like, he's the mayor. And where's his gold chain? I went, no, he's not that kind of mayor. Like, but he sat around the table just like any other man and got stuck into the group. And it was, you know, it's the connections that you make. And I'm sure we'll keep in contact after today. You're more than welcome to come and see what we've got to offer. I can't promise it'll be a good brew, though. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so pleased that I met you and that you've come on and explained what a vital role that you service you provided for people. Because I keep getting back to it, it's that taboo, we don't want to talk about it, men don't cry, that sort of thing. But so if you feel any pressure, stress, etc., call in and see this man. He'll help you out. He will. I know he will.
Cheers. Thanks very much.
Michael, it's been a pleasure seeing you. And thanks for coming on the show. Keep in touch. And if there's any way Salford Media can help you with news coverage or publicising events, we're more than happy to help you.
Yeah, this is the start of a beautiful friendship now, Tony.
I won't go that far. Right, cheers, Michael.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Better than early cut of that, isn't it?
A special day out for you all Smith fans. It's the 40th anniversary of The Queen is Dead. Tremendous album, one of my favourite albums. The 14th of June and the 21st of June, both Sundays. The times are open is 11 in the morning and 12:30. There'll be an immersive room in the Smiths room, video rooms. There's going to be a recreation of a 1980s bedroom for all you lovelorn, lonely Smith fans. There's going to be special merchandise, limited edition t-shirts, Smiths Lads Club. They'll have their merchandise available, there's special edition artwork, there's loads going on, so come and enjoy yourself, you Smiths fans. 40th anniversary, Queen is Dead, boys. Thank you.
Okay, if you just carry on now, as you would do, until we get to the third one.
And we're back in the proverbial room. My next guest, I'm delighted to say, introduce yourself.
My name is Richard Houghton.
I'm Ian Key.
From Louder Than What?
I am.
No, you're going to have to bear with me a bit, but this is the beauty of live, isn't it? Oh, my nose have gone the other way. Talk amongst yourselves, it'll be all right. I do apologise. I think it's talking to that Michael.
Would you like me to talk a little bit about why I'm here then?
Well, yeah, tell us about the book.
Yeah, so Ian and I have worked on a book together about the Smiths.
Yep.
The book is called It's Time the Tale Were Told.
Yep.
A People's History of the Smiths, and it's a collection of over 500 memories of seeing the Smiths live. the book tries to tell the Smith story in a different way. The People's History tag is a clue to it. So it's the story of the band from the front row of the audience, because there are lots of books about the Smiths, but many of them are written from the point of view of the critics or people who were involved professionally. This is turning it around and actually giving the people a chance to tell their memories of seeing them.
Is it 500 fans?
It is. Or 500 fans, just wanted to...
Some of them
people
have
like
contributed a couple of times as well.
We've got a story, there's a couple of stories from a guy called John Featherstone, who was the Smiths lighting engineer for much of their career, who's since gone on to work with Johnny Marr and New Order, now lives in Chicago, and quite a long chat with him, and he gave us a really great interview for the book.
So we've got stories from like we've actually got an American congresswoman,
Really?
called Monica Rodriguez, who's a massive Smiths fan. She spoke to us and contributed to the book as well. So it's people all around the world.
Yeah, no. I think I mentioned earlier, we've been doing the show for 10 weeks now, and we've been amazed at the number of guests from mainly South America who are big Smiths fans, well, Morrissey fans more so. In fact, there was some today, wasn't there, from Peru, Colombia, Peru.
Yeah, well, obviously, Morrissey has a big Latin American, Latino following. Had a big hit with the song First of the Gang to Die, which was apparently about gangs in LA or whatever. And I mean, if you go abroad, if you go to America, you see people with Morrissey tattoos. You see people with Morrissey tattoos in this country as well. I mean, he is iconic, and Morrissey, whatever you might think about his politics, and I don't think a lot of his politics personally, he's still a hero for many people musically, and he's somebody who courts attention because he's such a striking personality.
I can't disagree with that, apart from his politics, obviously, which I won't go into. But we was here the other week for the launch of Makeup is a Lie. And the fans were like the lookalikes, the clones. It's like a religious fervour I found with some of them. I was frightened of saying anything untowards about him. Like, I'm not too keen on the new LP, the album, CD, call it what you will, or his views. But he must have a massive fan base still, Morrissey, isn't he?
Yeah, and there's some stories in the book going back to the early days of the Smiths where people were going to charity shops and buying old NHS specs. And trying to get hold of an old hearing aid because they'd seen Morrissey on top of the pops with the hearing aid, with the glasses, and they wanted to dress like Morrissey, or wearing a necklace, which in 1982, 83...
A bit risque, wasn't it?
It was a bit out there for a bloke.
And the girls' blouses, women's blouses, the girls.
I mean, the world has changed a lot in the last 40-odd years, but back then you could have got beaten up for wearing a necklace if you were a bloke.
I think the fact that our book launch, which is happening here at Salford Lads Club, has sold so well so far is testament.
Tell us when the date of the book launch
11th of June.
What time are we looking at?
I think it starts at 7 o'clock.
Is that a Thursday?
It is a Thursday. But I think the way that it's selling so far is, and also the sort of like comments that have been made on social media, is testament to how much people love the Smiths and the music still.
Is it? Well, we did mention it. Would you be thinking of having a larger venue if the ticket sales are that strong, or is it a bit too early to say?
We've just been speaking about possibly releasing some more tickets.
With Dino?
Yes.
The ticket sales are going that well then, can we assume?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, it's not just a book launch. I mean, Ian and myself will be up there talking about the book, but there's a whole...
That's the sort of low point of the evening, is us talking. But before that, you can also buy things. There's going to be some stalls selling. There's a limited edition. When the book first went up for pre-order, there was a limited edition cover done by Michelle Hickman, and Michelle's got a stall here.
Is that the one that's like a patchwork?
Yeah, the cross-stitch design. So Michelle's got a stall here, there's a couple of other people who've got stalls here, and obviously Salford Lads Club will be selling their merch. We've got John Denton.
Yeah, musician. I've got to ask you this. Brian Bilton.
Brian Bilton,
one of my favourite poets, John Clark, if you watch it.
Yeah, I was interviewing him for something else, and I knew he was a Smiths fan, so I'd asked him if he'd fancy contributing a memory or something for the book. And after a couple of weeks he goes, I don't really feel like writing something like that, is it all right if I just write you a poem? So we've got an exclusive Brian Bilston poem for the book, which nobody else has seen.
Is that, well, that's fabulous, isn't it?
It's quite a coup, really. We should be pushing it a lot more, I think, than we have done.
We were here a few months ago, Carl and I, to see Clinton Baptiste, and we was interviewing him downstairs. And he's a massive Smiths fan, massive. And he asked could we be interviewed in the Smiths room. He was really a genuine Smiths fan. He had that excitement of him, you know, Smiths fans do. But, yeah. So tell us more about the evening, what we can expect.
I think, well,
The book will be on sale then?
The book will be on sale. The book's currently being printed. It's published at the end of June, so the timing of the event is just perfect because we get the books in a couple of weeks' time.
Will this be from your publishing house?
That's right. Yeah, so my company, Spenwood Books, has published the book, and obviously if people can't make it to the event because they are too far away or whatever, they can order it through the website, which is spenwoodbooks.com. But it's, like I say, it's the people's history of the Smiths, and it follows on from other books that I've published. Published a book last year about the Clash, which Ian put together for me, and
Billy
Ian
Bragg.
also edited a book about Billy Bragg.
Was this the early one?
That was an earlier version of the same book, the Smiths book. Yeah, so the latest version is bigger and better,
Revamped,
full colour,
Revamped, improved.
yeah. And yeah, so I set up my publishing company 4 years ago and started publishing people's histories on different bands. So I've done the Billy Bragg book, which Ian edited, with which Billy Bragg, you know, is
Heavily involved in as well.
Billy wrote most of it, basically.
Yeah. Well, he wrote it.
And
He wrote the book.
I'm currently working with Gary Newman on a People's History, Gary Newman. That's coming out later this year. I've done books on the wedding present, hence the T-shirt.
David Gedge,
And
we've all got musical T-shirts.
The wedding present were famously known as Smiths fans' second favourite band, of course. So often people, if you're a Smiths fan and you don't like the wedding present, there's still time to find out. So the wedding present is still going.
So what is your best-selling book then?
The best-selling book I've done is Billy Bragg, actually. Billy was very heavily involved in it.
A good man, isn't he, Billy Bragg?
And what we did as well was, because Ian had recorded a few interviews with people, we put together a few little podcasts where people talked about meeting Billy or seeing Billy in concert, and then we'd have a response from Billy, and Billy's quite good at telling a story about meeting people or what he remembers of the event. So that was a really nice touch by him. He put a lot of time and effort into the book that he really didn't need to do.
I saw Billy Bragg here about 10 years ago.
Doing the photo in the boxing room.
He was with Harry Up from the Slits. They were doing, it must have been a charity event.
Yeah.
Well, he did Sexuality and a few others. He was just awesome, isn't he, Billy Bragg? Everything ticks every box on him, Mr. Bragg.
Politically, he's quite the opposite of Morrissey. and what's really interesting about that, I think, is that there's no story from Billy in the book, but I remember talking to Billy when the first edition of the book came out, and obviously he supported the Smiths on one of their American tours, and he actually said getting invited to support the Smiths and then be able to watch them from the side of the stage whilst having a pint of beer was one of the highlights of his life. He was seeing his favourite band live and getting free beer.
Free beer?
Yeah.
So in the book, does it review concerts or... It's from the fans' view.
Many of the stories are of people that have been to the gigs and their journeys to the gigs, who they went with, and the memories of the gigs. And then there's also stories from people around certain records that they may have bought, what it means to them at that particular moment in time, and what it's come to mean later on as well as people have met different band members of the Smiths and stories about those meetings.
I've met Mike Joyce here recently. He was there for the Fat Clinton Baptiste evening, actually. So I'm fascinated by the book. Surely there's more than one book in that, isn't there?
Well, when the first edition of the book came out, I actually finished it with a few stories of seeing Moz solo.
Yeah.
But Ian got so many new stories about the Smiths that weren't in the first edition that I actually have taken out the Morrissey solo stories, and I'm hoping to publish a book about Morrissey next year. Because my wife, for example, is a big Smiths fan but missed out on seeing them, but did actually go and see some of Morrissey's very first solo concerts up in Scotland, and so has the dubious privilege of being one of the first people for Morrissey to cancel a gig on her.
Oh.
Sore throat, I think. On that
Was it
occasion.
this time? Yeah. It was noise from the hotel room, wasn't it, in Spain? Do you need his blessing before you can actually publish things about him, or does he have to read it, or does he give you his blessing to say go ahead? Or
Do you know what? If Morrissey wanted a copy of the book or wanted to give us a story, that would be fantastic. But equally, if he wanted to say something rude about us on social media, that would be great publicity too. There's no such thing.
no such thing is the bad publicity. Talk about Louder Than War. How long has that been going then?
Louder Than War's been going for over a decade. It was set up by John Robb, and Nigel Carr came in and run it with him. It's a music-based blog, if you like, covering a lot of independent kind of things and punk artists. This year we did Louder Than War Live, which was our first one-day festival. It's also affiliated to Louder Than Words, which is a literary music event which happens every year in Manchester. I started writing for them during the pandemic. I was bored and I dug out a few things that I'd written through the years and decided to do my own little blog. And then Nigel from Louder Than War approached me and goes, do you want to write for us? Since then I've been doing that. There was Louder Than War Radio started in 2021, and I've been doing 2 radio shows a week since November 2021 for them as well. One of them's I do with the Other Editors, which is an all music show, and then I do an interview show every Sunday as well, which is
apart from that, you do nothing, yeah.
And then I've got a day job as well.
Really? So how did you two paths cross then to do the collaboration?
Well, so I've done a couple of books already. I did a book about Sean Ryder a few years ago. Sean Ryder's Book of Mumbo Jumbo, it was called. And Ian contributed a story for that. And then I was doing a book about the Jam, and Ian's a big Jam fan. Again, a bit too young to have seen them.
Are you really?
And I know you wouldn't believe it, would you? But a big Jam fan, and he contributed something for the Jam book.
So I did the wedding present one as well.
Yeah.
Then
We'd sort of been interacting as a result of different books that I'd produced. And I was aware of Ian's writing and his work with Louder Than War, so I reached out to him and said, I've been working on this book on the Clash, but I'd really like to, find somebody to take it over the line. Do you fancy doing it? And
he stepped into the breach.
Yeah, we met up for a coffee and sprang from there.
Yeah, the baptism of fire.
I bet it was. I bet it was.
Well, no, it was good. And then from there we did the Billy Bragg book last year as well. So
the Smiths legacy lives on and on, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
How many books have been written about them, would you say? 50, 100?
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was at an event a few weeks ago and I saw a couple of books about Smiths that I wasn't aware had been published before. And I think it's a testament to just how much they touch people's lives at the time.
Of course.
Because it doesn't happen with every act. Obviously, you can always go through British pop history and say, this is an act that influenced people. The Beatles, for example, the Rolling Stones in the 1960s.
Yeah.
And then you get into the 70s and the Jam were clearly a band that touched people's lives because they spoke to
I think a lot of people forget what a short span the Smiths did.
Yeah.
They were only a few years, weren't they? Was it 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
82 to the last album coming out in 87.
Queen is Dead.
No, the Worst Strange Ways, Here We Come.
I've got the albums in the house, and I know it's the 40th anniversary of the Queen is Dead is coming up.
Yeah.
I was looking through the album the other day, and there's some incredible tracks on it. I think Vicar in a tutu, boy with a thorn in his side.
I think the reason why the Smiths are still revered
Relevant, yeah.
is because their career ended just like that.
Yeah,
you know, Johnny
yeah.
left, and everybody thought, oh no, they've got more songs and more music. They will get back together. They will do something, and for the reasons that are well documented, they never have. They've not done an Oasis, and, you know, reformed 20, 30 years later and charged 300 quid a ticket. Although, like I say, my wife's a Smiths fan, and she says she'd pay £1,000 to see Johnny and Moz on stage together. So who knows? If there are lots of people feeling like that,
I
maybe
can't see it ever happening.
No, you can't happen without Andy Rourke, can it?
No, it's true. I think the separation of the ways was too bitter, wasn't it, for Morrissey and, well, more so, to get back after having to sue him for his money. It's get back together. Come on, don't be tight. Give us another gig. Anything you want to talk about? You've got an open forum. You've got 10 minutes. Smiths, music-wise.
Well, music-wise, following on from the Smiths book, I'm currently working on One on the Fall, which is another fine Manchester institution. Which is penciled in to be published in May next year, which ties in with the 50th anniversary of their first gig.
I mentioned earlier, I think everyone's got a story, haven't they, about Smarky. He accused me of being in the IRA one evening, drunk, very drunk.
Well, you or Mark?
Not him. And the second meeting, he came to our house, and talking about music in general, and he has a way, I think, of testing you. All right, cock and that. And I mentioned Hank Williams. You don't like him. And he said, I do, yeah. But what was the name of his first band? I said, Luke and the Drifters, Luke the Cowboy, the Drifters. And I had a copy. I lent it him, never got it back. A bugger. But yeah, it is. Did you see the Fall live?
Yeah, I saw the Fall a couple of times.
You know, quite chaotic, couldn't they be?
Yeah. I saw them once, and he was using his lectern, you know, and it was obviously quite an unusual thing for a lead singer just to stand there reading lyrics.
I saw him at Pendleton Church. Do you remember that gig he did?
No, I don't know.
Him and a chap called Ed Blaney.
Ed's local, isn't he?
Yeah, Salford, yeah. But it was just him in the church. It was like biblical shouting.
He did a spoken word project. He released 2 albums which were just spoken word with a bit of backing on them.
I think more slurred word, I think. But, it was, but again, everyone's been in the Fall, haven't they? My friend Brian was in the Fall. He was on the Are You Missing Winner album. But he got sacked in Greece. I think it was a theme. He accused Brian of being in the IRA and had to make his own way home. But for all his faults and all, he's a legend, isn't he, Smith?
Yeah.
He's just Manchester.
There's a lot of Fall fans, you know, famous people.
Of course, Stuart Lee loves him, doesn't he?
But that's a sign of how much they resonated with certain people, and yet they're not a band that's known to the man on the street.
Exactly. Now, how many albums did they do, the Smiths? I think 40.
I think I think it's 36 studio albums,
Right.
or 34 or 36 studio albums. But then, when you count in all the live albums and outtake albums and all that, there's close to 200.
He did a few solo things as well, didn't he, Smith? The Train, and I've got a copy of that. It's not very good, to be honest. Not very good. We're supposed to be talking about the Smiths anyway, aren't we?
So, what's your favourite Smiths song?
It's hard, that, isn't it? There's a Light That Never Goes Out. As I mentioned, songs like Frankly Mr. Shankly, Vicar and a Tutu, but
there's a lot of humour in the...
He's a very clever man,
Northern humour.
Yeah, northern humour. It's not northern tradition, isn't it? It's like his hours, isn't it? I remember thinking that in the 80s, his hours was, I wish he was from Salford, but I know, I think he'd like to be, wouldn't he? He'd like to be. He's not.
So I'm from Stratford, so I'm quite happy that he was...
you've got that one. The photograph, though, outside here, I think that saved this club, didn't it, really, with just testimonies to the visitors we've had today in weekends. And
Stephen Wright, who took that photograph, contributes a story for the book as well, and talks about how cold it was that morning and the light wasn't great, and he didn't think that much of the photos, so he was amazed that the band liked them, and that, you know, the life that image has gone on to have of itself.
Iconic image, isn't it? It really is. Well, I would say the number of people you see trying to recreate the bands even, don't they? They're all outside here. But if it saved the Lads Club and helped the Lads Club, I'm more than happy with that. Morrissey himself has donated money, hasn't he? It's the adage of it, well, he didn't have to, but he did.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, I'm chuffed that we've got the launch event for the book at Salford Lads Club, because when Richard first asked me if I wanted to get involved with it, there was a few things that I kind of had in my mind as a checklist. And one of them was to have the launch event here, never thinking that we'd actually get it.
It's a natural choice, I would have thought.
It was the only choice, really, isn't it, for Manchester, off the northwest, Salford. There was nowhere else we could have had it, so it's quite fitting.
Can I come on the evening?
Of course you can.
Can we film it?
If you want.
Give you all the
That'd
night.
be great.
Yeah.
Look forward to that. We can do that, can't we, Carl? We're going to come to the Queen is Dead one as well.
Yeah, that's on
It's
the
2
weekend,
nights.
isn't it?
Is it the 13th and 21st or something? 2 Sundays. Is it Mishmash Records?
Yeah, Mishmash. I think there's some Preston or Chorley, or they're up that way.
I'd never heard until Dina mentioned it, to be honest. But
the guy that runs it, he's doing a lot of promotion on Instagram for it, and he's got a lot of really nice Smiths rarities and posters and flyers and things, which he's putting pictures up of. So he's really into it. Definitely a fan.
that'd be good. Anything that benefits the club for me. That's really what it is. And did you speak to the other chap before, Roy, about the Smiths? He was on tour with Morrissey. The Blackpool gig, he nearly cancelled it because one of the road crew was spotted eating a KFC. Which is so, read is that what you will?
There's a website dedicated to Morrissey's cancellations and walk-offs.
Is it really?
And I think with the most recent shows he cancelled in the US last year, he's now past the 500 mark, if you include Smith's gigs that ended early. I mean, I've seen Morrissey go off early. I was at the Liverpool gig where he got hit on the side of the head with a water bottle 1.5 songs into the set and went off.
I'd like to mention Angie Shepherd. I mentioned to you earlier, she's, what's she call herself, isn't it? Something, not the Mozart Army, but she travels to America twice a year, Australia, all over Europe. She must have a very understanding husband, but that's a blind devotion, isn't it? She wanted, I think they call themselves the regular irregulars, or the irregular regulars. I think that's the name Morrissey gave them. His fans at the front, he sees them every gig, and that's what he calls them. But I like her. I like her. I was to America to see him. Far from it. Have we got anything else, boys?
Well, I've seen him in America.
Have you really?
But
Tell us.
Like I said, my wife's a very big fan.
Yeah.
And she'd been to see me in New York. I think she'd been to see Johnny play in America as well.
Yeah.
But we were visiting New York anyway, and we saw that he was on at the King's Theatre in Brooklyn. We thought, well, we'll buy tickets on the day rather than in advance because of the risk of cancellation. And he played, and the King's Theatre in Brooklyn is a beautiful Art Deco theatre, really fantastic. And it was a cracking night. We'd seen him just a couple of months before at the Apollo in Manchester, but it was a different set, and slightly longer. And I saw him last summer in Lucca in Italy, an outdoor show in the market square there, and that was fantastic as well.
He still throws a few Smiths numbers in, doesn't he?
He does. I think he. Yeah,
I think you'd expect it though, wouldn't you? You'd expect that.
Fair play to Moz. I've obviously been saying one or two jokey things about him, but I'm a fan. He does still mix it up on stage. He doesn't play the same set list every night. He brings out old stuff. He puts new stuff in, and he doesn't necessarily play what the crowd expects to hear, which I think is why so many fans love him still. Still puts on a fantastic show, basically.
Have you got favourite Smith songs, tunes?
Probably is There Is a Light, just because it's such a beautiful song.
It's the ultimate love song, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it is really. What do you think about? It's a nice song. I've got the T-shirt, the Salford Lads one, doesn't it? We're running out of time. Well, I'm not. We've got 10 minutes. You got anything you wish to talk about? Anything you wish to say about Smith before we get cut off?
Well, I think the thing about the book, and hopefully anybody who takes the time to read it will get this. Is it, you know, like I said, they were a band that meant so much to people. People would
Of course, yeah.
start dressing like Morrissey. It opened doors to it. It made people realise you didn't have to conform to what everybody else was listening to.
Yeah.
I mean, there were just so many people who'd say, "Oh, well, you know,
You
Morrissey's
appeal to the
lyrics
loyal
made me think
people,
differently
yeah,
about life."
disenfranchised, yeah. We spoke to a girl when it was the launch of Makeup Is a Lie, and she was saying it brings back me memories of as a student, a young girl, lonely, and that was her outlet, listening to Morrissey in her bedroom. And I think that applies to so many people, didn't it? It touched onto that, made people feel like they were wanted and loved.
I mean, in the book, there's quite a few people that have written about the book who were too young to see the Smiths, and write about the influence that on the music, of the music on their careers. And there's like, there's a few musicians that have written pieces, and it's like, you know, it's which, you know, it's sort of like it was the Smiths that made them realise, you know, that, you know, music's important and you can write about things, and then they've gone on to have careers of varying success as well. So
his lyrics made me, well, still do, but the Smiths burst out laughing at the buck-toothed girl from Luxembourg, and where's that come from? And
I think that's
so the stereotype of Morrissey is that he's miserable.
Yeah.
Because
far from it.
Smiths recorded a song called "Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now," and that was the media's typical joke about him. He's miserable, he's depressed, blah blah blah. But actually, there's so much humour in so many Smiths lyrics. Johnny's guitar is so uplifting in so many ways. It's just the idea that the Smiths are a miserable band is just ridiculous,
it's a
really.
myth, isn't it?
And I think so.
I think they played on it a little bit.
it's a very lazy stereotype, isn't it?
Yeah. When you see these early interviews with Morrissey, he's so funny, isn't he? He's so self-depreciating.
Yeah.
He'd have a job getting one over on him when you're talking to him.
I mean, I think even now when he's interviewed, when he's not talking about politics, he does come across, he's very quick-witted still.
Yeah, very, yeah. No, I just wish he'd drop that right-wing politics rubbish he comes out with. Yeah, anyway. So the book launch, give us a date, boys.
11th of June.
What time?
7 o'clock.
How long is it like to go on for?
3 and a bit hours.
And it includes?
It includes a makers market. It includes John Denton doing a set before and after the book talk, and there's us doing a book talk.
Okay.
And possibly being interviewed. We don't know yet. I haven't still sorting that one out.
The price of the book?
No, it's £10 to get into the event, and the book is £25.
Yes.
Is it hardback?
No, it's a softback. It's a large format softback.
Right.
It's 360 pages long.
Wow.
And full colour, lots of pictures, over 500 stories. And
value for money.
Value for money, and
pre-order from Burning Shed
or through spendwoodbooks.com. But you know, it was great fun to put together, and hearing people's stories, interviewing people over the phone, chatting to them about the Smiths, you know, brings it all back. And hopefully anybody who buys a book will find that, you know, it will take them back to the time when music was fantastic.
Indeed. No, I'm dead getting wistful now thinking of the Smiths.
You're going to be going on listening to the Queen, is that tonight, aren't you?
I probably will actually, drag it out. Right, boys, anything we need to say before we say good night and bye?
Thank you.
If anybody's got anything they want to contribute about the fall to the fall book, then please get in touch. There's an email address, thefallbook2027@gmail.com.
I'm sure you'll get plenty of, everyone has a story about Smithy,
and if anybody wants to send a story about seeing Morrissey live, or indeed have got a Smith story that isn't in the book already, they can contact me at iwasathatgig@gmail.com.
Angie Shepherd, please get in touch with this young man. She's been to so many Smiths and Morrissey gigs, and she's got a tremendous collection of ticket stubs, t-shirts, everything. Angie, please contact this man. Okay, shall we?
Thank you very much.
Run out. Right, as I say, there'll be no show next week. We're having a 2-week deserved break, shall we say, and we'll come back after that with a new format and new guests. And thanks for watching over the last 10 weeks. Cheers. Thank you.